Tomlin and their Client Entrepreneur Circle, or Nigel Bottrell specifically, facing losses, a cash crisis, which no doubt Nigel and Ainsley will talk about, which just threatened everything. And Nigel, as many of you know, is a guru. So this is a pretty interesting story. Saved the business, saved more than 60 jobs in the process, and because they then train business owners, 13,000 have been trained this year alone that wouldn't have got that training if the business had folded. On track towards paying all those creditors in full that were seriously in jeopardy, saved the reputation of someone who had a big reputation, introduced robust financial controls and reliable management information, and so often those things alone make a hugely profound difference. Created a platform for growth and significant profit growth, and then by candidly admitting what went wrong rather than pretending it didn't, sharing that story on the stage many times over, many other businesses have been inspired to address those problems in the same way. So would you please join me in welcoming Ainsley and Nigel to the stage? And they're also coming from the back. It's a long way from Gloucestershire. Nigel's the tall one, Ainsley's the shorter one, just to help you. So exactly the same questions for you guys. You'll be familiar with them by now, and you're both pros at this, but obviously hold the microphone up so we can all hear, just under the chin. Nigel, first question for you, as with everybody else, what were the main issues that you needed help with at the start of the story?
This is a very different story to the ones that you've heard so far. I've been touched by those previous three stories. This is a very different one. You won't need your Kleenex. But in terms of an inspiring accountant, because this story is all about Ainsley and the team at Tayabali and much less about me, I would consider myself to be financially very astute. I've been in business on my own for a dozen or so years. I had a lot of success, built several businesses, sold quite a few. I thought I knew what it takes to build businesses, and I'm very good at getting customers. Entrepreneur Circle was formed in 2010. We turned over last year around £6 million. And I had the presence of mind and the foresight several years ago to appoint a fully qualified accountant to be my FD, because I knew the importance of financial control, so I brought it in-house. And as a consequence, relied little on my regular accountant. They just rubber stamped the accounts. I had my own accountant in-house. And we have seen some tremendous fast growth during the last 2 or 3 years. And looking back now, I can see things that started to happen last summer. There started to be excuses as to why my monthly management accounts weren't coming forward. But I managed it very crudely. We had a deposit account, and I managed the balance on that deposit account. We had targets as to what it would be each month. That was our surplus cash. And at the end of last year, our target was to have £750,000 in that deposit account. When I went away for my Christmas break on the 19th of December, there was £685,000 in that account. I had a lovely Christmas holiday. A few weeks prior to that, my FD, my qualified accountant, had handed in a notice. He was off to travel the world. And at that point, I realized I needed to get some proper accountant in to look after me. I knew of Ainsley through other people who recommended me to him. So in November last year, I appointed him as my accountant for Entrepreneur Circle. And what a great client we were going to be. This was all, the picture was great. Everything was fine. And he said, well, let me do a review, some controls and checks. And I said, well, no, there's no need for that. Everything will be fine, but this accountant, everything will be cool. I came back from my Christmas holiday on the 5th of January. And I had to go into the bank to have a look at make some payments that day. And my deposit account had only £150,000 in it. So somehow, while I've been away, almost £600,000 had disappeared from my deposit account. What we uncovered, oh, by the way, I had a £250,000 VAT bill due the following week. So for the first time in my business life, I all of a sudden, the shit had hit the proverbial fan. And I was very unsure what to do. My first thoughts were that the money had been taken somehow. So I called Ainsley, who was somewhere else in the world at the time. He may tell you in a moment or two, off in the Far East. And what we uncovered was a real litany and catalogue of, in truth, very poor financial controls. There was some deception things that happened in there. And it did look, as we got into towards the end of January, I couldn't see a way around this. The cash had been managed appallingly badly. And I was staring down the barrel of really losing everything that I'd built over the last 10 or 12 years. And I'm a guy who, has made a career in a business out of showing other businesses how to develop and grow businesses. So this was a completely untenable position for me to be in. So the stakes really couldn't have been higher. And in that regard, I'm looking forward to 2016 because 15 has been a kind of an annus horribilis, or at least the first half of it has. We got things sorted. He will tell you how in a moment or two. We got some investments sorted out. People were prepared to put money into the business. All sorts of options came and emerged on the table for me. We ended up going down a route. We took the business at the end of May this year into a CVA. That was an interesting one. I have an insolvency practitioner that I had to go and talk to. This was a complete anathema to me. My goodness, what a great vehicle a CVA is. We managed to create things so that almost the only people in the CVA materially really are HMRC, who have, again, he got on board and supported the whole thing. And that's not technically true, but you get my drift. We're now in a really good place. We're growing. We employ 75 staff whose jobs have been secured by this, but much more important, I'll tell you in a moment, is the impact that my story, which I first thought would be a massive risk to me, actually what's happened to us, and this is where the inspirational accountant bit comes in, has actually rippled way, way, way further and has impacted many, many dozens, we're probably into the hundreds now, of other businesses, because as you guys will know, business owners don't talk about and don't tackle cash flow challenges, and he has inspired, him and his team, many, many dozens of businesses to face up to and tackle the cash flow issues. So the impact has been huge.
Ainsley, fabulous, my goodness. Well, tell us what you did to help.
Well, I'm not sure what more I need to say, really. I was feeling really sorry for myself when I got this phone call. I was in India. I had just been on the B1G1 study tour, and I think it was day 2 of my holiday bit, and I got knocked off a rickshaw by a tuk-tuk, so my leg was in a cast, and I was feeling very sorry for myself. Thinking obviously I hadn't done enough good in the world, and I was being paid back, bad karma. And I got a phone call from Nigel, and I thought, crikey, that's a real example of, that there are always people worse off than you. The things we did are things that all of us here would have done for that client at that time. I mean, we started obviously forensically. We looked at where the cash had gone and why, and that's not a difficult process for any of us. Obviously, clearly we had, potentially issues with a leaving FD, but it turned out to be, much more complex than that. The FD had, well, let's not get into it here, probably, it's not the best place, but we helped understand where the cash had gone and why it had gone. And more importantly for us, really, it was the verifying the underlying financial validity of the business model was really, really key. Nigel was at a state where he thought, well, do I continue? Is this the right place for me to go? Should I be looking to do something else? And so we spent a lot of time working on the numbers and where the business was and whether it was the right model or not. Clearly, financial controls were lacking. We had done a management report, the old audit management report, in that November, and some of the points were quite prophetic, even though we probably didn't really realize the importance of them at the time. So we set about putting in strict financial controls for the finance team, and we kind of sat above them as an oversight, and so took Nigel out of the loop so that the excuses that they were giving in the past would have to come through us, really. So that was quite key. We also looked at cash flow projections and tried to get some funding sorted.
I mean, but from a, if I just want to interrupt, because this is about finding the most inspirational accountant. And I think what you probably don't quite realise is all that stuff technically is all good, and I'm sure many people here in the room could have done it. The things that made the difference, there were 2 telephone conversations in particular that I remember I will for a long time. I used to have to go and walk around the streets because I couldn't have these conversations in the office, and I used to go for a walk, and one was a very cold day, my hand almost dropped off. I was holding the phone for a long time. And what you were able to do was enable me to see the wood for the trees and pull me out of what was a very, very, this was a crippling kind of blow. But I think if that was what the story was today, it wouldn't be worthy of your votes today. It's what happened later on during May and June this year when we got the way forward, we got the process in place, we could see cash flow was returning, we were very positive, we were profitable, this was all kind of fixed, but we've now got this whole CVA thing, and how do we handle that? And this is where Ainsley really was hugely inspirational and helpful to me, because he had the wisdom and the foresight to recognise that I couldn't see it. That actually, if you handle this well, it will actually enhance your standing and your reputation with your customers and the people that rely on you. It won't diminish them. And he worked with me to help me craft what ended up being a video. I wanted to write it all down, but he said, no, you should film this because people will receive it and relate to you better. And I put a video out, which was the scariest thing I've ever done. It went out to all our members, several thousand people, on the 17th of June. And on the 17th of June, I told this story of what had happened to our business, because no one knew. And the result of that was extraordinary. And over the next 48 hours, 271 of our customers wrote to me, which was an extraordinary thing. Every single one of them, hugely supportive. And we captioned the video at Asia's suggestion, the thing that no one talks about, and because people don't talk about cash flow challenges, people pretend. And as a result of this, and this is really why he is on this stage today, because as a result of his wisdom and foresight and enabling me and helping me to put that message out there, what has happened now is that we are into the hundreds, so it's many dozens of businesses have come forward, either with him or with their own accountants, and there are one or two of you that in the room today who have had that. And they are getting their businesses properly fixed as well. So he is triggering stories like the ones that you've just heard before we came on stage today. And this is why this is at a completely different level. This is not about me and the situation and inspiring me and my team at Entrepreneur Circle, although it's done that. What he has done is rippled out far beyond that. And I do think for you as a profession, actually stories like mine can actually be hugely helpful in helping people to do more stuff. One of my messages to all our members is that you need to spend more money with your accountant. I recognise that many of you are hamstrung with what you can do for your clients because they're going to pay you $1,000 or $2,000 a year, and there's not a lot you can do for that. And actually, we've now got, I'm out there preaching because the help that you guys can give, and we're seeing it with these other stories, but it's got to get out there and ripple it some way, and what this guy has been amazing at is helping that to happen, and that's why he's worthy of your vote today. It's not about me at all. It is about Tayabali Tomlin and the team there, because they have inspired hundreds of businesses and practically and usefully helped them to get where they want to be.
Wow. Ainsley, anything else to add, or either of you, anything else to add?
Thank you. There's not much to add, really.
No, well,
I think it's simple stuff that we've done. It's really basic. You've said it before. It's really simple financial controls that are put in place here. There's nothing magical.
Yeah.
It's stuff that most of the people here in the room would have done.
I know, that it has been in the spirit of this award. He is inspiring, and thank you for listening to our story. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Nigel now tells his members, the business owners that he works with, you need to spend more money with your accountant. What a great message. Because we cannot do a brilliant job on a shoestring, which is why later in the day, we're going to look at, again, in ways how you can make sure they do pay you more money. So you actually get paid properly for this stuff, because boy, do you deserve it.